But let me share with you today the most unlikely convert. Because today, maybe you've believed in vain up till now. Maybe you don't believe at all. But in verse 8 it says, last of all, as to one born at the wrong time, he also appeared to me. Paul's saying here, I'm the most unlikely convert. I'm the most unlikely person to be a Christian, to believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. He says, I'm like one born at the wrong time, like a premature birth or like a child that was born at such a wrong time. He says, I'm the least likely. I'm the last person that should be saved or should be a convert. And here's what he says, verse 9. For I am the least of the apostles. That's the sent ones that Jesus has sent out. He says, I'm not worthy to be called an apostle because I persecuted the church of God. This guy named Saul, who later became being called Paul, this guy Saul was, the best way to put it in modern day terms, he was a terrorist against the church, against Christians. He hated Jesus so much. He hated the church so much, he was killing people in the church. He was putting them in prison. He was having them beaten and persecuted. He hated everything to do with Jesus and the way. So much so that he was going from town to town trying to get rid of them. But Jesus, in his omniscience and his sovereignty, he revealed himself to this Jesus hater on the road to Damascus. And he fell to the ground. And Jesus says, why are you persecuting me? You know what he meant by me? He was talking about the church, the family of God, the body of Christ. And he says, Lord, who are you? And then Jesus revealed himself and he saw and engaged with the living, resurrected Jesus. He says, if there's one person in all of history that should not believe in this, it should be me. I should have never been chosen. I should have never been saved. I'm the most least likely convert. But I'm telling you today, I went from killing Christians to begging people to turn to Christ in a matter of days. The most least likely, the most unlikely convert. He says, but by the grace of God, not because of anything good he's done, I am what I am. And his grace toward me was not in vain. Remember, some of you, like me at one time in my life, you've believed in vain. You knew the right answers, but you've never surrendered your life to Jesus. He says, because of the grace of God is why I am what I am. And his grace to me is not in vain because I'm submitted and surrendered to whatever he wants. He says, on the contrary, I actually worked harder than any of them, talking about the apostles. But he says, not I, but the grace of God that was with me. And in verse 11, he says, whether then it was I or they, he says, whether it was me or you or whoever else, we proclaim and you have believed. He says the church in Corinth has believed in the resurrection of Jesus, and now you can also believe that you will be resurrected.